At a family meeting, Mom said, "Your sister just bought an expensive apartment. You can't do it." So I smiled and replied, "I did it 2 years ago, none of you ever asked." They demanded a housewarming party, and I answered. I stared at my phone in disbelief. My mother had just called, inviting me to dinner at my parents' house. It had been months since we'd last spoken, and years since I'd visited them. I'm Donna, 32 years old, and the black sheep of my family, or at least, that's what they think. Growing up, I was always second best. My younger sister Melissa was the golden child who could do no wrong. She was prettier, more charming, and had this way of making everyone love her, especially our parents. It wasn't that they were cruel to me. They just clearly preferred her. The dance recital they'd miss because they were too busy? They'd somehow find time when it was Melissa's turn. The average grades that earned me lectures somehow became doing her best when they came from my sister. I sighed, putting my phone down on the kitchen counter. The marble felt cool under my fingertips, a small luxury in the apartment I never told them about. Why had Mom called now? What did they want? Fine, I muttered to myself. I'll go. A week later, I pulled up to my parents' modest suburban home. I deliberately dressed down, jeans, a simple blouse, and minimal jewelry. Nothing that would indicate I was anything but the struggling middle manager they thought I was. Taking a deep breath, I rang the doorbell. Dad opened the door. "Donna, come in. Come in." His welcome seemed genuine, but distracted. As soon as I stepped into the living room, I saw why. Melissa was holding court on the couch, Mom and Dad's attention fully focused on her as she gestured wildly, telling some story about her workplace drama. She paused mid-sentence when she saw me, her perfect smile never faltering. "Oh, the prodigal daughter returns," she said, her voice dripping with false sweetness. Mom jumped up. "Donna, honey. We're so glad you could make it." She hugged me briefly, then immediately returned to her spot beside Melissa. I settled into an armchair across from them, watching as Melissa's eyes scanned my outfit with barely concealed contempt. "Love the thrift store chic look," she said, smirking. "Thanks," I replied simply. Not all of us need designer labels to feel good about ourselves. Dad cleared his throat. "So, Donna, your mother's made a lovely dinner. Should be ready in about 20 minutes. We made awkward small talk until Mom announced dinner was ready. As we gathered around the dining table, the same one from my childhood, Dad poured wine for everyone. Melissa immediately launched into stories about her job at a marketing firm. "They practically begged me to take on the Johnson account," she was saying. "Said I was the only one who could handle it." "That's wonderful, sweetie," Mom beamed, reaching over to pat her hand. Dad turned to me suddenly. "And what about you, Donna? Still at that same company? What was it? Assistant manager?" I took a sip of wine before answering. "Still at Berkshire Financial." "Yes." Melissa snorted. "God, Don, you've been there what, 8 years now? Most people would have moved up by your age. I mean, I've been promoted 3 times in 4 years." I could feel my jaw clenching. If they only knew. That I'd been Berkshire's financial director for the past 3 years. That my annual bonus alone was more than Melissa's yearly salary. That I'd been featured in Business Weekly's 40 Under 40 last year. But they didn't know, because they'd never asked. Never cared enough to keep up with my life. Instead of correcting her, I simply smiled. "Not everyone has your drive, Mel." "Or her talent," Mom added, serving